material is cedar, which is the same as a milky.
All right, so that was tight, right? I mean, that's a friction fit. As it's driven in, it's putting end load. So there's several questions with this. How do you get a measurement to where the friction fit is tight enough so that you have the allowable tolerance is perfect, but you're not forcing something in so hard that you're bruising the wood that you're swinging by? How do you determine? Is it plus a 32nd, plus a millimeter, plus a hair? It takes practice. It takes practice to know how to place your mark, how to make your line, how to split that line when you're cutting, or whether you leave the line. There's all sorts of conversations about that. We've got some videos, but this guy has it. You're going to see as it goes that a lot of his boards are put in with the heel of his hand. All right, so we just skipped a lot, right? We went from just sort of an overview of the outside and Nokiura and this porch ceiling to the inside finish work. And I mean, that's what we're here for, right? When you see somebody like this doing this kind of work, you want to see what perfect and visual looks like to him. So we have some knots in the framing members. Not a lot, but clearly it's not clear. But what I've seen towards the end of this video makes it almost impossible to find any sort of a knot or an imperfection in any of the wood. Which introduces a question. Would you let me know, is this house that we're watching for the 1%? Is this a median house? What percentage of the people that live in Japan could ever aspire to have a house like this? Gang cutting, tongue and groove, not a knot. I wonder how much those boards cost. And that looks like a bigger blade than a 7 1/4 inch. He cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards at one pass. Larry Hahn would be proud of you, buddy. If you're gonna gang cut, and I recommend that you do, it's easy to make the mistake of not verifying that the factory end, that the factory cut on the other side of what he's cutting right here is as perfect as the cut you're gonna make. And if it's not, then you gotta cut them twice. You've gotta get a perfect end and make them perfectly flush and square down through the stack before you make this move. And if you don't, you are going to be oh so disappointed when some of those boards were out of square or short and your meticulously laid out gang cut just wrecked, or at least obligated for use somewhere else, expensive boards. So yes, gang cut, and yes, verify the condition of the end. Maybe you use a clamp. Okay, so that's blind nailing. The tongue on the previous piece is engaged with the groove on the piece that he's putting up, and then he's nailing just underneath the tongue in a spot that's going to be covered up by the following groove, right? But I got to reinforce my question about, is that the same species of cedar? And not a knot. It's beautiful.
Next is the pony wall. It guards against falls. While I understand the stairwells are, this is my first time building a pony wall before building a staircase. However, it makes sense since it prevents falls.
Okay. Can we just pause and recognize that he said this is the first time he's put a safety railing around a stairwell? Salute, buddy. Now, there's nothing wrong. As he is saying right now, there's nothing wrong. It makes sense. It prevents falls. It does prevent falls. But I guess I'm just pointing out that it's easy to diss on the construction workers in our neighborhoods if we see them do something unsafe. But there's a mentality in construction where the work is the work. And the men, by agreeing to be construction workers, have accepted some degree of risk. But it's nice to go home at the end of the day, isn't it? Yeah. Nice. Look at that. That must be off of Pinterest or something. That's what they had him shooting for. And it looks like he nailed it. It's the challenge in all cultures everywhere. You're doing work for somebody and they have an idea and nobody can read a set of blueprints and nobody can visualize. But in this day and age, you can find a picture somewhere of whatever it is you're thinking of. And it beats 1,000 words. Beautiful. What's that? Yes. So you see him cut that little chamfer on the edge with his chisel? A chamfer is a wonderful thing. It's cutting off a corner at a 45. But as soon as they get too big, darn it, they're too big. Sometimes they just need to be so delicate. And This guy understands delicate. Okay, there's satisfaction. And you can tell by his stance. His arms are folded. He's staring up at what he's doing. He's designing. He's suspending a problem in his brain and rotating it to look at every possible angle. And he's trying not to sprain his shoulder by patting himself on the back. All right, what are we laying up here? Okay, he's gang cutting, but look at that saw guide square. Look at that thing. You can really keep a hold of it.